nowadays, if you find haters of me, they love to talk about how I originally look like. Then people always wonder like, oh, who went to expose you? Like your young pictures, did someone come out with it? You know, Korean stars, people take their yearbook
before
pictures,
and
right?
after,
It's just all exposed by myself. Like I posted it myself. Right, I'm not ashamed of it. I posted it. To me, it's a sense of pride that I managed to look better as I age. So I think being honest with that, you know, the confidence builds from realizing that there's really nothing to be ashamed about as long as you're true to yourself.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Open House, where every conversation opens a new perspective. I'm your host Durga. Love her or hate her, Xiaxue needs no introduction. She's bold, she's fearless, and she's never afraid to share her opinions. These are qualities that have actually made her the OG influencer that she really is. And today I'm excited to talk about her journey, how she built her brand, overcame challenges, and has stayed relevant in a tough industry. Welcome to Open House, Wendy. How have you been?
I've been great.
It's so nice seeing you again. I think the last time we sat down for a chat was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, maybe 10
years ago.
10 years ago. Yeah, it's a long time.
And you haven't changed a bit.
Oh,
you look exactly the same. All right. Now, Wendy, let's start with you, right? We all know who is Xiaxue, right? We've heard so much, we see your online persona. But what I wanted to find out is, what kind of person is Wendy Cheng? And how is she different from the person that we see online?
I think quite generally the same, but a lot nicer in real life.
You are.
I think because like online, I tend to express my opinions when it's about stuff that I don't really like or I'm not happy about or I don't agree with. So I come across as being a bit angsty, I guess. Yeah, but in real life, I mean, those things rarely happen. So yeah.
If I were to ask a couple of your friends, like, what do you think they would say about you?
So I'm the kind of friend that you can call at 4 a.m. with an emergency and
Wow.
I will pick up.
So now I know when to
I can drive. So I will be like, okay, what do you need? I'll go.
I'm hungover, come pick me up.
Sure. That.
Okay. Now, Wendy, let's revisit, an earlier part of your life, right? Like turn back the clock and, your childhood. What sort of a person were you? Like when you were growing up, like what was a young Wendy like?
Right.
Was she as bold as she is today?
Maybe not as much. I wouldn't say I was ever like meek or like quiet. In fact, all of my report books, the teachers would always say that I'm a chatterbox or I'm talkative, I'm an extrovert. Yeah, when I was young, there was this incident where my parents, they brought me to Australia, to Perth. They went to drive somewhere. And then, in Australia, it's not like Singapore, it's so populated. They actually drove to a friend's house, which is in the middle of a forest. It's one of those private houses, like a bungalow, right? And there's a farm attached to it or something. But there was no lights, absolutely no lights. And when they reached there, they just left me in the car because they thought I was sleeping. They said I didn't want to wake up. So they just left me there and then they went inside to chat with a friend. And when I woke up, it was complete pitch darkness everywhere. I really freaked out.
How old were you?
I was 9.
You're 9.
Yeah, and I really just cried in the car. And I was like, were they coming back? Did they just leave me here to die? And I was just like, oh no, what am I gonna do? So eventually I get up, I opened the car door, it wasn't locked. I saw a house nearby. So I went. And I was just like, okay, maybe this person will call the police to report that my parents left me here.
So you actually walked over to the house
in pitch darkness. It's freaking dark. So like, I knocked on the door and obviously they were there inside chatting with a friend. I was just like, why would you do this to me? Why? And they was just like, oh, we came in, we thought that we were only gonna be a while. And like when you went in, people obviously will talk to you for a long time, right?
Like most kids would have just stayed in the car until the parents died.
I did for a while. I was crying in there. But anyway, the point of this story is that it made me very afraid of being alone. I think it really affected me to the point where I really don't like the idea of if there's nobody around me.
What's one memory, like this is one story, but what are some memories that you feel have built you up to the person today?
Well,
as a child, or even as a teenager.
Okay, well, as a teenager, my family was not very wealthy. So we lived in a very shitty neighborhood. It was very close to the foreign worker dormitories. And like they were just always hanging around neighborhood. Neighborhood was very unsafe. This is not what you really imagine Singapore to be like. I thought everywhere was like this. Then I realized, no, it's actually just my place. I stayed at 𝙒𝙗𝙗 Gardens.
Jurong, somewhere in
Yeah,
Jurong.
the crime is quite rife. Like I have seen flashes, people just publicly masturbating. There was once a flasher was in front of my lift. Yeah, so he just took out his pants like that. I swear that thing, almost reached his knees. Okay.
Oh my
God. I couldn't believe it. I was in the lift. I was only like 14 years old. I was a teenager at that point. And it was just like, wow, horrifying experience. Like, because I don't know if he's coming in. And so I quickly pressed door closed, but I was so afraid he would come in. But he didn't lah. He ran off. So since then, for like the next 2 years, I took the stairs every day. At that time, I experienced a lot of sexual assault. You know, in the bus, they would sit next to me and like touch me kind of thing. Like once somebody tried to hold my hand or like sit really close, or you see like people just public masturbation, like just looking at you. Initially, I didn't make a noise. I was very scared. I didn't say anything until one day I realized that, you know, actually if you do say something, people will help you. And once I did that, once I opened up about it, I realized that, you know, it's important to speak up. And I think that actually formed a very big part of my personality. There was once I was working banquet. I was banquet waitress, right? So the shift ended very late. I went home with one of my girlfriends. And there was another girl on the bus. And it was a double-deck bus. It was very late, last bus. So there was just the 4 of us on the bus. It was upper deck, I remember. So we were sitting there, me and my girlfriend chatting. And then I realized that this girl, she was, the guy was behind her. She was in front, one seat in front. And she was doing this.
Oh.
And the guy had his hand on the handle like that, like trying to talk to her the whole time. And she's obviously avoiding him. So after a while, we stood up and then we were like, are you okay? And then the guy was just mumbling something in foreign language, right? And then the girl was just like, he keeps bothering me. Then I said, why don't you change seats? Then she said, I changed a few times already.
Oh,
he kept
following her.
Yeah. So I went downstairs and I spoke to the bus driver. Yeah. And I said, like, there is a guy up there harassing the girl. And the bus driver, very nice guy, right? He stopped the bus. He said sorry to the rest of the passengers on the lower deck. He said, okay, we need to stop for a while and handle something. He went upstairs. He pulled the guy by the arm. He said, you get off my bus now.
Get out right now!
Yeah. I think that was also probably a pivotal point in my character development. I feel that it was like, okay, great. I'm happy to help that girl. And she was so grateful. She was just like, thank you so much. I was so afraid to say anything.
It must have been going on for a while until you came onto the bus.
I mean, she should have gone downstairs. I don't know what she was thinking.
And that's the thing, you know, it's great that you helped her, but it would have been so nice if she could have helped herself as well, you know. Now, what I wanted to also know is, which I'm always curious about, you know, successful people like yourself. Like when I was younger, you know, we have dreams like we want to be a doctor, we want to be like an actor and things like that, right? But some of us go in that direction, some of us don't. And you took, you know, sort of pretty unconventional route to, you know. So what aspirations and dreams did you have as a young woman at that time?
I'm sorry
to
tell you this answer, but I didn't have any.
You didn't have any? Oh.
I remember I did very well for primary school. So I got into a very good secondary school. I went to River Valley High School. And the first day of school, so stressful, teacher was asking everyone, what is your aspiration? What do you want to be?
Yeah, what do you want to be?
I'm like, dude, you don't ask someone who's 12 this question. Like I had no aspirations. And to my surprise, everyone in the class had a straight answer, like lawyer, we have doctors. So when it was my turn, I really didn't know what to say because I didn't have an answer. So, you know, in the classroom, there's like a photo of president and his wife, right? My answer was the president's wife.
Why not?
Why not? Right?
Yeah, why not?
I just have to cut some ribbons, do some charity work. You know? Nice, easy life, right? I think I said it as a joke. I didn't really mean it, but the teacher was probably thinking, this one is going to be trouble.
Like, were you always like in class? Were you a bit like cheeky?
I was definitely a problem student, like so bad compared to the rest. I didn't do my homework. I was very naughty. I had boyfriends, you know. Then once I actually went like shoplifting when I was, I don't know, 14 years old with my classmate.
Did you get caught?
Yes, I did get caught.
You got caught?
I got caught and the principal actually announced my name in the like morning assembly. So like everyone know that I'm like paikia in the class,
So you were sort of like a troublemaker. And do you feel that that's still a huge part of you is still there? Not really.
Not really.
Toned
I
down
think
already.
I'm quite like a good girl these days. But like in that sense, the feistiness and the whole alien thing definitely is still there a little bit. Yeah.
Now, having said that, you know, when you were younger, you wanted to be the president, right? But in Singapore, our lives are pretty much mapped up. Like what you shared, you know, you do well in PSLE, then you go into a good secondary school, then you go to poly or you go to JC, and then you sort of like end up in the paths that you want to end up, right? But you really took an unconventional route because you started a blog.
I mean, people think that it's so cool. Like, oh, you started some pioneering thing, but it just fell on my lap. At that time, nobody was using this as a career. So, like, I started blogging when I was 18 years old. Still in poly, right? So, because of the blogging, I was a little bit famous already at that time. And my lecturers knew about the blog because it was on newspapers and stuff. So because of that, I actually got quite a good internship among my peers. They got me an internship at Today newspaper as a journalist. Yes. It was a very cushy job. I was very happy with it. And they put me in the entertainment beat. So it's like writing frivolous things, go to like watch movies, give a review, you know, that
gossip.
Kind of thing. Yeah. So it was quite fun. So I actually wanted to apply for a job there, but there was no vacancy. So after that, I actually got a job as a doctor's PA. Yeah, he actually wanted me to do more like a sales job. So he wanted to have a directory of all the Singapore private doctors so that this directory, if somebody from like Indonesia, like some rich person wants to come and do like brain surgery in Singapore, they can look through, okay, these are all the brain surgeons, this is a history,
who they are.
Yeah, you know. So my job is to make sure this project goes and to talk to those doctors and sell them that
sales
space. Yeah, something like that. And then I realized I really hated that job. And then like I told my mom, I'm just very unhappy in this job. I think I want to give blogging a try. And I thought that she would scold me and say like, stop it. Like, you know, nobody likes their job. Just deal with it, right? And
like suck it up.
Yeah, suck it up, right? But she was just like, give it a try, lor. And I did. And it was like...
This is all while you were still studying.
No. This
finish
after my internship. Remember, I failed getting the job. Yeah, so that was my first full-time job. And that was the only full-time job that I got. So I've never actually submitted a resume in my life.
Right. So you've never gone back to a 9 to 5 after that.
Yeah. So I mean, thank God my mother was supportive. Otherwise, I may have stayed in the job. I may not have tried this, but yeah, I did. And then he was like, okay, it was all right. Yeah.
So what was the moment, like, you know, you've been blogging since 2003, right? And the money is of course a factor, right? But what was that one moment where you realized that, wow, I've made it. I'm Xiaxue, you know, I've made it.
There was this time where I joined Nafnang, which is an agency for like bloggers, and they created this awards thing for like the bloggers. I guess one of the moments was when I won quite a lot of the awards that year. Most influential award, or like I think the biggest one was like blogger of the year kind of thing. I guess at that point I was just like, I guess I am the top in this industry. Like for a while at least.
Right.
Yeah. So
and how did that make you feel? Did it motivate you even further? Like, were you earning?
I was earning
quite well as well.
Bad.
So the recognition matched the...
I am not a very money motivated person. So I don't like go and chase after it, you know.
Because some people are like, wow, I want to do this because it gives me the most money.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of person. To me, it's just like if it's enough, it's good.
And it's so funny, you know, because people might think that influencers are motivated.
I think most of them are. I think I'm just a very rare breed of people who will be quite content being middle class. Yeah.
Actually, looking at you, we've seen you before as well, right? And you've always been so down to earth.
I mean, I do buy luxury goods.
Yeah,
I do enjoy
who doesn't,
right?
Yeah, you do.
But it's just, I think the job really just came too easy. Like I didn't have to fight very hard for it. The money usually just falls into my lap. Like every time I just feel like, you know what? I feel like I need a new camera. I feel like I want this new camera. Then I'll go ask the brand for it. And then they're like, okay, sure.
Like, okay, sure.
For it. Okay, fine. Great. Right. And then it's just like, okay. Like that. I don't ever feel like I need to.
You need to go and purchase.
Yeah. You know, luckily I'm not into like things like, oh, I need a new AP, or, you know, I need a new Lamborghini.
Well, that one, then you need to be, then you need to be money
so
focused.
Usually I'm just like small things. I'm happy.
Like a handbag. Yeah.
Then I look at the hermes, like, you know, some of the other influencers are like carrying Birkins. My first Birkin, I purchased my own money. I'm just like, the Birkin is so ugly. Like, yeah, I would never buy a Birkin.
So what do you enjoy about being an influencer? I mean, you're a blogger, content creator, and clearly you're an influencer. What do you enjoy most about it? And what do you hate about it?
I think mostly the understanding, or like my followers, right? That they have followed me for a very long time. They truly do know me and they like me for me. And it's a very nice feeling to know that people understand you and they get you, you know? A lot of times when I'm writing an article about something that I disagree with or whatever, it's because like when I talk to people around me, or I see general statements that people make online, right? And I realize, how come I don't think this way? Like I'm thinking it's the opposite way. And then I write my thoughts down. I'm like, what do you guys think, right? And people write to me and they say, thank God for saying this thing that we didn't dare to say. You are the only one who said it out loud. Like, I agree with you and stuff. And you're just like, okay, well, that's nice. Like, people think like me and they understand where I'm coming from, right? So it's a nice feeling. And during times where there are cancellations sometimes, right? Like, people hate on me and stuff, the followers send me really very, very sweet messages, and they would just be like, oh, I follow you for a long time. I know like what kind of person you are, and I understand where you're coming from, and I still support you no matter what. You know, they're really very nice. So it let me see the good side of humanity a lot. Yeah. And I'm very, very grateful for all these people. Yeah.
And what have you not liked about being an influencer?
Well, I said, seeing the good side about humanity, you also see the bad side.
What are some of the worst things that have been said to you?
There was this once, I think I showed my support for PAP or something that really pissed off a lot of people. After that, like, I had death threats, people saying that they will come to my house, they know my address. And like, somebody sent me pictures of Dash with him looking like bloodied and everything. I said, I will kill your child. I hope your child gets cancer. Horrible, right? And I curse your child. Your child will die within a month. Things like that. Like, the horrible things that people would say, attacking not just me, but my friends and family. I think that's the worst part, because I don't care if you do it to me, but don't do it to people around me.
And as a mother, how do you deal with that? Must be quite hard, right?
It's okay in the sense that I think that usually these hate comments don't really translate to real life. So they wouldn't actually do anything.
Do you worry though? There might be that 1%.
Yeah, I was very scared for a while. So I was carrying this weapon around for a while. Because firstly, someone exposed my address online and anyone can see it. So anyone can come to my place. And once I was walking at my void deck and I saw a guy holding a DSLR, just being very fishy, just walking around at my car park. And then suddenly when I walked past, there was this flash. The flash came off. Like, amateur, I guess.
Bunch of fucking amateurs.
So like, yeah, I think it was just trying to sneak a picture of me or doing something, because at that point there was a lot of online activity saying that they want to stop me, they want to, put nasty things at my house, and things like that. And this actually happened, and I was really actually quite scared. So like, my friend was just like very concerned for my safety. My boss at Nafnang at that point, Boss Ming, so he was just like, I'm going to get you a weapon. Nothing illegal, not pepper spray or knife or anything. He got me this torchlight that was very amazing. He said, this torchlight is great. Like, so the torchlight is like this really heavy, hard torchlight, okay? And it's long and slim, like about this size. There's a button at the end where you press. And when you press it, right, a very strong beam of light comes out. So what you do is you take it out, you blind the person first, and at the edge of the bulb, right, the rim of the torchlight, it's like this ridges. It's not sharp, it's just like really hard metal and it's heavy, right? So if the person is still attacking you,
you just like blind them
and hit their face with it, right? So I was just like, okay, fine. But it's small enough to put in my bag, although it's a little bit heavy lah. Yeah. So I carried it around for a while. Yeah.
And did you worry for Dash, like, because he goes to school, he's alone, like, did you worry that people might?
Not really. Yeah, because I feel like people wouldn't go and hurt a
it's
baby.
just keyboard warriors.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think that they wouldn't do that.
Do you bother to call them out and...
I can't. They're anonymous. Yeah. So that part is horrible lah. It's just, yeah.
But if you could, would you?
Oh, definitely. For
You
sure.
would.
I would definitely do something. Yeah.
Now, how have you, sort of built your confidence over the years? To say the things you do, to, be very vocal about your opinions, you have to be courageous and confident, right?
Right.
I think most of the influencers these days present a very strong aesthetic.
Right.
On Instagram, at the very least, right? But maybe in terms of truly sharing their opinions and thoughts, maybe not quite.
I just feel like they really don't have that much thoughts. I'm sorry, but it's true. It's true. I don't know. Like, why is it that nobody is really like writing like more intellectual stuff? Like, we see some heartfelt stuff sometimes.
Yes,
like my mental health journey or
correct.
Yeah, but like not really any discussion on social political issues or things like that. That's like, just like, is it that nobody's reading, that's why it doesn't go viral, that's why I'm not seeing it? Or
so, what gives you the confidence to just like, okay, I'm just going to write about this, I'm just going to come out and talk about this? Like,
okay, I think like since I started blogging, I realized that like there was this one thing about the internet, which is that whenever you lie, the truth is going to come out eventually and it's going to hurt you. I'm very careful that I don't say one thing and actually mean another. For example, I love editing photos. I like doing this kind of crafty, artsy stuff, right?
Like your nails.
Yeah, like my nails. I did my nails
you did it
myself.
yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so I started photoshopping my pictures at a very young age. And it's internet era, right? People haven't really seen how I look like in real life. I can just say that this is really my face. But I choose to show the before and after and teach people how to do the Photoshop. Right? And I say, this is how I look like before. In fact, nowadays, if you find haters of me, they love to talk about how I originally look like. I don't know.
Right, yes,
I've seen.
Yeah,
okay, so
I have.
and then people always wonder like, oh, who went to expose you? Like your young pictures, did someone come out with it? You know, Korean stars, people take their yearbook
before
pictures,
and
right?
after, yeah.
It is all exposed by myself. Like I posted it myself. Right? I'm not ashamed of it. I posted it. To me, it's a sense of pride that I managed to look better as I age. Yeah, so I think being honest with that, you know, the confidence builds from realizing that there's really nothing to be ashamed about as long as you're true to yourself.
So for you, right, you know, since the time you've started, what is one misconception, right, people always have about you?
I think maybe at the start of the career, people see me with like the blonde hair, full of makeup, you know, frivolous, pink frilly things. They always think that I'm very dumb.
Or like a dumb blonde.
Like, yeah. I think still a lot of people think that way.
Bet she's blonde. All the hot bimbos are blonde.
Maybe not the people who regularly read me, but like people who don't really follow me, but they just hear about certain things that I said, like they read the headlines. Then they think that, oh, she's on it again, she's so stupid, you know? Yeah.
Now, speaking of intellect, you know, you've never shied away from controversial topics, right? You know, people have called you many things. They say that you're racist, that you're fat phobic. You know, are you though? Any of these things?
I don't know. I think that I am not. Okay. I mean, am I going to get cancelled more for explaining myself? I feel like I might. But I think the whole fat phobia thing, that was the most ridiculous one. Because everyone has like relatives or like people around them who are like not skinny, right? It's so dumb to say that anyone hates fat people. But what I don't like is this American culture of the obese people forcing everyone to agree that this is good looking. Like if my sense of aesthetic is that that's not good looking, then it isn't lah. Why must you force me to die must say that you are beautiful? I just don't think you are.
I'm dead sexy. Look at my sexy body.
Nobody will find that aesthetic. So why are people lying? I mean, there will be some people with certain kinks. I don't mind.
Yes,
like you find whatever you find attractive, but don't force others to agree with you. That's what I don't like.
Right.
Yeah.
But having said that, are you racist?
I don't think I am. I think I came off that way because, as I said, like I did stay like near the dormitories, right? So there were foreign workers there of honestly every nationality. So I feel like if I'm very 100% honest about this, I am very scared of like anyone who looks like they could be a foreign worker because of what happened to me. And I cannot change this. This has happened to me. It is true that I was sexually assaulted. But I mean, the logical part of me knows that not every like foreign worker is going to attack me. And to be fair, for the last 10 years, none of them have. They have been nothing but nice. And I know most of them are decent, hardworking people who just want to earn a living and go back to their family. Nothing bad has happened to me. But this experience in the past, would I want to step into a lift with someone that I find looks like that guy who flashed me?
No, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't. And then I ask myself, am I a bad person for thinking this way? Am I a bad person? I don't know. But I feel that to me, as long as I don't present this fears that I have, right, outrightly as biasness towards people and I don't be mean to them, then I don't think I'm doing anything wrong.
You even had a police report on you for that, right?
Yeah.
And I feel that if you have a certain lived experience with a particular group of people, then that's your experience.
Yeah, and I don't have any issues with the women.
Yeah, you
So
know?
I'm not racist. So I just feel like, I don't know what else I can say. And I think that tweet was a very mindless tweet, but it was from 14 years ago, where people say a lot of stupid things on Twitter. A lot more extreme things have been said. Do I regret it? Yeah, I do. Yeah. And I think that if you ask me to say that sentence now, I would never say that because I know that it's no longer acceptable to say things like that. But it has happened, law, so be it, law.
Right.
Yeah.
How about the Singaporean dating man habits? You know, you were talking about the dating habits of Singaporean men.
Right. You're really digging me into a grave here. Like, I'm gonna die so bad. Like, yeah. I'm trying so hard to think about, like, you know, sometimes it's like you say certain things and you think that it's like, you're saying it in a very polite way, but then it turns out like it's like super cancelable.
But this is an opportunity for you to just
No,
come out and
sometimes when
say,
you clarify, it becomes worse. Okay.
what about Singaporean men?
What about Singaporean
Yeah.
men? Oh, they're really nice.
That's not the truth. Like, you know, so the whole thing with this, like the Thai women, and
It's not just Thai. There's like China women too, or
Vietnamese.
like Vietnamese or whoever else they are dating. And the trend moves, right? Last time people were dating a lot of
I think
Filipino
still,
girls.
yeah,
also.
Filipino, yeah.
Yeah. And then in the past, the Singaporean men also hated like Singaporean women for a lot of SPGs for dating white guys. I don't know. It's just their choice, I guess, like to go for girls who are less less demanding. How about that?
You found the word.
Yeah, I think Singaporean girls are very demanding. I mean, it's because we are a very equal society now. Like the women and the men have equal chance of education,
Work opportunities.
Yeah, so we earn about the same, I would say. And so it's very hard for a girl because most girls want to date up, right? They want to date a guy who's a protector, can take care of her. So that's the problem with modern society, I feel. Yeah. And then the issue with these guys who are maybe not so high up there, right? They don't have the choice of the pick. They just go for a girl who idolizes them, like is happy to be sweet to them and be
so sweet.
Yeah. In Chinese we call it 小女人, but I don't know how to translate that. It's like a little
women.
Yeah, like
Something like that.
Yeah.
What do you see as a trusted influencer? Like, what are the things that people are worked up about? Like, if there is a topic that really gets to you, and what irritates you right now in the world?
You see, like, it's not that I don't care about like things like minority rights or like animal abuse or all these other things. I just feel like these people have a lot of warriors for that. These topics, like people are fighting for these things. So I don't feel like it's necessary for me to add my voice to it because by default you shouldn't be racist, you shouldn't be mean to people, you shouldn't judge people for being trans, things like that, right? It's like, why do I even need to say it? Like everyone should do that, right? But the things that I feel like I want to voice out about are when these things go opposite direction, right? Then I feel like I need to voice something out. For example, if like this is a recent hot topic also, how like Trump recently said that trans females shouldn't compete in sports, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with him that like, the sport should be for, you don't put a dog into a cat contest. The same as you don't put an adult into a child's competition, right? Same thing, a straight woman shouldn't be allowed to go into a drag queen contest. You shouldn't.
That spaces,
So it is what it is lah. And I just feel people are unhappy about it. You shouldn't be allowed to call them like transphobic and stuff like that, like words like that are almost career ruining.
Homophobic, racist, transphobic, and anti-woman.
Right? You can sue somebody for a hate crime. They can go to jail in some countries. People can lose their jobs because they voice an opinion. Things like that lah. So I feel when it's gone a little bit too far, I feel like I want to say something. Yeah.
So Wendy, you've been very vocal. Like we touched on a bit earlier, about your plastic surgery, like your journey, right? So some people may say that, oh yeah, it's okay. And some might say like, why you want to go and change your face and all that, right? So what do you have to say about plastic surgery and, how women can actually feel good about themselves? Let's say they don't want to do plastic surgery. Then how?
I think like some people are just blessed with good genes and they don't have to do it and they are confident in their body. I would say good for them, right? But for those people who want to do something about it, then go ahead and do it lah. I think that nowadays society is so much more accepting of plastic surgery than it was in the past when I first did it. If you think that, altering your appearance can help you gain more confidence and be happier, why not? Like to me, it's the same as saying somebody with a cleft lip shouldn't do the surgery. Nobody would ever say that, right?
Yeah.
Because to them, they feel that it's like, it's necessary
to fix it.
Yeah. Or somebody with very bad crooked teeth. You will never say, don't go and do braces, embrace your natural self. So why is it that I have to embrace something that you find acceptable, but I don't? And even if I find it acceptable, it may not be the epitome of good, right? I may want to be from a 5, go to a 9. Like, why can't I aspire to do that? And I feel like these people who vote for this natural thing, they don't want to admit it, but they just don't want people to surpass them by using cheating methods. Yeah.
But, like some might say like, it's you not being happy with who you are inside. And another one is like, you're not being truthful to the person that you might be dating. Because that's, so how
that
then
doesn't apply for me because I'm very open about it. But I would say that for people who want to hide it, then you shouldn't lah. You should just be open about what you did. And I think people will be a lot more accepting than if they found out that you're actually lying. And it's very easy to find that you're lying because you look at old photos and you're like, obviously this person did plastic surgery, right? The other aspect of it, I think about it this way. You wouldn't say that when you get an empty house, it's nice, but it's empty. like I want to renovate it the way I want to renovate it. So it looks like me and what my ideal home will look like. You wouldn't say that I'm insecure about that house or that I hate that house, the empty house. I don't. I just think that it is better
With
when
these
it's better.
things,
Yeah. So that's my view towards plastic surgery, I guess. And although a lot of people like to use plastic on me as an insult, they love to make jokes like, wow, you melt in the fire and whatnot. Honestly, that irritates me a lot because if you go and Google, right, silicone melts at 1,400 degrees, right? So the human body will cremate first, my nose will still remain. So stop saying that my nose will melt in the fire, okay? It's scientifically not true. Yeah.
I see. And now, moving on to your relationships, right? Like you recently went through a divorce, right? Do you think that it's okay to stay in an unhappy marriage when you have kids? Like for example, society, right? When people go through a divorce, they will say, no lah, stay together, because you have kids, you try to make it work. I don't know about the parents these days, but obviously like maybe boomer parents, whether you have kids or not, they will say, try your best, don't get a divorce and things like that, right? What do you have to say about that? Like, people might be torn between what society and family expects of them and their happiness.
True. I think like when I was going through the whole divorce consideration, right, and it went on for a very long time, one of my friends actually told me, like, why don't you just do it? Because she comes from a divorced family. Her dad is divorced from her mom. She said that when I was a kid, I wish my parents would divorce earlier. Yeah. Save the fighting and eventually what's going to happen anyway. And letting your child see the parents fight and be unhappy, right? She would rather her mom have left that situation earlier and got happy earlier. Ideally, you should have two parents who are happy. But having two parents who are happy individually is better than having two parents who are unhappy but together. So that made a lot of sense. It never occurred to me because when my mom and dad were going through a divorce, I remember I was maybe primary 6 or so, and the first talk of divorce came about when my mother would talk to me and she's like, what will happen if I do this? Are you going to be okay? Are you going to come with me? Things like that. And like, it was so stressful. I was so scared. I was just like very, very scared that I would be abandoned. Also, I don't know where this irrational fear came about. Maybe because last time when you watch those MediaCorp TV shows, right, they talk about divorce and the child's very traumatized. And I feel like I need to be very traumatized also, So that's my impression of divorce. I always thought that the child would be very traumatized if a divorce happens. But, actually now that I'm older, I realized, she should have left like way earlier. I would have a rich stepfather by now, right? Like, don't freaking waste time lah. Sometimes the longer you drag, right, the worse the divorce becomes because you all fight even more, right? Somebody gets very angry, right? And then it's just like in the end when you break, the break is so not amicable. Yeah.
It's so fractured and the child sees all that.
It's so many years of resentment.
Yeah, resentment.
Maybe it's the less years of resentment you break up, you can still be friends.
I don't know. I guess, probably.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to entrepreneurship. You have two businesses, right? Pink coconut nasi lemak and plastic cosmetics.
Right.
What made you decide to venture into business?
Right. Okay. So the pink coconut one is not really my business. It is my friend's business. Yeah. But he was collaborating with me on it lah. So he asked me to work together with him. I was like, okay, it's quite a good idea. So I was like, okay, I don't have to do much except the marketing and come up with like what I think would be nice on the menu. Like look nice, not taste nice. That's his job, right? So I was like, okay, sounds great. Let's do that. Yeah. Then for plastic cosmetics, like I actually am very, very passionate about like makeup and beauty, right? So there was once I realized that there's the new way of wearing eyelashes, which is like magnetic lashes. So in the past, you always have to put the glue on the lens. It's very troublesome and horrible. But this like person invented like an eyeliner that was magnetic. And then there were these tiny magnets on the eyelash and you just have to put the eyeliner and you tap the thing and it just
sticks.
And it's super like secure and it doesn't dry off. It's still sticky. So you just have to stick the eyelash on. So I found my manager from Nafnang last time, my business partner called Wen, and I told her about this business idea. I said that this is brand new. Nobody knew about it yet. And I said, let's manufacture this. Then I told her that I will do the marketing, right? And I can help be the model, take the pictures. I can edit the photos, right? I don't want to do anything else. If you ask me to do a website, I will be like, I don't know how to do it. Then I have a lot of inertia about finding out how to do it and I'll never get it done. Like 3 years later, it's still not done, that kind, So I said, you do everything else. else. She's like, okay, I want to rope my sister in. So she asked her sister to come and help as well. So we have 3 people in the company now, me, Hui Wen and Hui Ting. I'm in charge of the marketing. They do everything else. And they were like, okay, fine, we can do the rest of the things. So we worked together and we started it. Yeah.
Why is it called plastic cosmetics?
The tagline was supposed to be like something like you don't know whether it's like plastic surgery or is it like this person is naturally born like that kind of thing.
See.
Something like that. I forgot the tagline.
Is it because they like always called you plastic?
Yeah,
and
also that. So I'm just like, okay, let's go with that.
I see. All right. What's a beauty tip that you swear by?
Okay, well, here is a little beauty tip that I think, right, actually a lot of the beauty industry really wouldn't like me saying this, and I think it's probably not very smart of me to say as well because I also have clients who sell this product, but the best sunscreen is foundation. Yeah. You don't have to wear sunscreen. I feel like it is a lie that has been perpetrated by the industry. If you don't like wearing foundation, sure, wear your sunscreen. It's important, right? I have come to realize that there are days where I spray sunscreen on my shoulders or whatnot, but I have foundation on my face and I go to a beach club or whatever. Everything else is burnt except my face. Like, how is it possible? Then I realized that, oh yeah, because it's pigment. It is literal things, actual particles blocking the sun. And that is so much more effective than something that is transparent blocking the sun. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But what is one, like for me, I will not leave, okay, of course I'll put on foundation, but if there's one thing, if I'm in an absolute mad rush, right?
Yeah.
Lipstick is a must for me.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, I don't like the color of my lips. And I don't like the shape of my lips. So like I usually will spend quite a lot of time like shaping the lips with lipstick. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Wendy. But what advice do you have for someone who wants to get into the industry? Like what?
Okay. How about you come in and you give smart like thoughts, like articles, like write educational good things that's like commentary that's like important.
Put the
like,
influence to good use.
Yeah, like because there's nobody else who's out there now. So there is a space for you.
Right.
How about
and
that?
you're still in the space.
Yeah,
so we hope to hear
I'm not
more
very
from
active.
you.
Don't worry. Anyone can surpass me because I'm the laziest creature on earth. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you so much
you.
for being here. And I think it was really nice chatting
we had a
with
nice
you.
chat.
Yes,
Thanks for
we
having
did.
me.
And you're always kind, to oblige.
Aw,
Thank you so much.
thank
and
you.
to our listeners, if you really like this episode, please share it and then leave a review, your suggestions to our next guest, and of course follow us on our socials. And always remember, if you want some answers for your questions, there's always a guest out there who has it. All right, see ya.